Wait, before I start, I just want to tell you a little bit about the paper. So for starters, this comprises of the following chapters. You have remainder and factor theorem, matrices, linear inequations, as well as ratio and proportion. And then you have banking from commercial mathematics. And you have all of coordinate geometry, excluding graphs. So we have no use of graph paper. Each and every chapter is equally divided. I would say it has equal weightage, except maybe reflection, because just like I told you, there's no graph paper. There's not much to do in reflection without graph papers. Maybe 4 to 5 marks. You'll see other than that, everything else is related to the other chapters. So it's quite a simple paper actually. I had the opportunity to look over the paper and I was able to solve like 2-3 questions, but this is the first time I'm going to be solving the whole paper with you guys. I've not done a detailed solution for this paper before. And actually this paper is simple, but the questions are a bit twisted, as in you can use your textbook as a reference, but you know, it's more conceptual. So this paper got even a few toppers confused. So instead of 50 out of 50, they would have gotten 42, 43, etc. So I'll basically be telling you how to approach the questions. So yeah, let's begin. So now let's take a look at the first question. Aryan deposited rupees 500 per month for a time period of 20 months. The qualifying sum of money for the calculation of interest is. Now basically over here you've been given the principal or the monthly installments as rupees 500, and then you've been given the time period in months, which is basically represented as n. Qualifying sum of money is what you need to calculate. Now over here people can get confused thinking that the question is asking you to find money deposited, which is just P into n. If you do that, you will get option A. But that's not correct. Qualifying sum of money is a completely different concept. There's a separate formula to calculate it, and that formula has been derived from a specific concept. If I have to explain that concept to you in short, basically, see, when you make your first deposit, it stays in your bank for n number of months, correct? N over here is your time period in general. And then your second deposit will stay in your bank for 1 month lesser. So n minus 1 months. So using that concept, there's been a sequence that has been found, and using that sequence, they have derived this qualifying sum of money formula. So the formula is nothing but P into n times n plus 1 over 2, not just P into n. So you need to be careful of this, okay? Like this thing has been added to ICSE, and now even in the specimen papers, you can see this type of question coming. So let's solve it now, okay? So as you can see over here, I've made a rough column, which is what you need to do. So first sub question, we have P into n times n plus 1 divided by 2, where P has been given as 500 times 20 into 21 divided by 2. This is just 10. So 5,000 into 21. Basically, this is just going to be 100,000 plus 5,000. So this is just 105,000, or it can be 1,05,000 rupees, which is option C. You've been given a polynomial 4x squared minus kx plus 5, and you've been said that it leaves a remainder of 2 when divided by this particular factor. Okay, so x minus 1 is a factor of this polynomial, but there's a remainder. So you use remainder theorem over here. So equate the factor to 0 directly. Equate the factor to 0. X minus 1 is equal to 0. So that means x will be equal to 1 in place of x sub 1 in this polynomial. So you have 4 into 1 squared minus k into 1 plus 5 is equal to, since you're using remainder theorem over here, you consider the remainder, which is 2. So this is just 4 minus k plus 5 is equal to 3, and this is 9 minus k is equal to 2. Sorry, this is 2, and then k is just going to be 7. So 7 has to be your answer, which is just option C again. So 7 is our answer. All right. In our third sub-question, we have been given this inequality which we need to solve, and then we've been given an assertion and a statement. So this is again conceptual. Basically, our inequality over here is minus 3 by 2 less than or equal to negative 2x over 3. So now cross multiply this, making this negative 9 is less than or equal to minus 4x. So divide both sides by negative 1. When you divide both sides by a negative number or multiply both sides by a negative number, you know very well that the inequality sign will change. So if it's being altered, it will be altered towards 9. So 9 is greater than or equal to 4x. So that means x is less than or equal to 9 by 4. This becomes your final answer. And is that given over here? Yeah. The largest value, obviously, right? Because it's less than or equal to. So this has to be the largest value. So assertion is true. That means B has to be false, because B is saying that A is false, which is not the case. So it has to be either A, C, or D. Now, what is the reason? When the signs of both the sides of an inequation are changed, the sign of the inequality reverses, which is absolutely right. That's exactly what we've done here. Changing the signs basically means dividing or multiplying by a negative number, negative 1, right? So if you do that, basically we're altering the signs, and that's what we did. So to prove the assertion, we have applied the concept given in the reason. So basically, A has to be true and R is also true, and R explains A. Okay, so I'll just say that C is correct. Okay, C is correct. A and R are true. All right. So now let's get to the next one. We have ratio and proportion over here. P, Q, and R are in continued proportion. Then you've been given a bunch of things. So see, first of all, if P, Q, and R are in continued proportion, what does that indicate? P is to Q is equal to Q is to R, right? So now what you need to do over here is eliminate options. Obviously, you're not going to solve this whole thing from scratch. You need to eliminate options. That's the thing with MCQs. Don't solve the whole thing. See, you've already gotten this form. P is to Q, right? P is to Q, you've gotten this form, and then you've got Q is to R. This is equal to P is to R, which is not true because it's Q is to R. So A cannot be the answer at all. Similarly, B is Q is to R is equal to P square over Q square, but that's not correct because it's just P over Q, not P over Q whole square. So A and B cannot be the answers at all. So just eliminate them. And now it has to be either C or D. Okay, so if you have to go on solving it cross multiplying, it'll be very difficult to prove it. So for this, I'll use the K method, equate this to K. So P is just equal to QK, and then Q is equal to RK. Sub this in this, making P equals to rk squared, because rk into k, which is rk squared. And now as you can see over here, we have p over q, but then we don't have q over here. And then we have p over r, and we have r over here. So what we'll do is we'll divide both sides by r. R's cancel off. P over r is k squared. But then again, k we've taken as p over q. So p is to r can be p squared over q squared, right? Because p over r is nothing but p over q whole squared, because it's k squared. This is just equal to k. So d has to be correct in this, applying this logic. So p is to r is equal to p squared is to q squared. So this is absolutely correct. Okay, let's move on to the fifth one now. Sorry, my handwriting sucks today. I don't know why. Okay, so the fifth one, we've been given a matrix. We just need to square it, basically a squared. But then we've been given all the elements. So this is a very, very good opportunity for you to just like get a free mark without even breaking a sweat. Because over here, they've given you all the elements anyway. So you know these are correct. Only this is what you need to find. So don't solve the whole matrix and waste time. Just solve the second element, which is what you need to find. So a squared is just going to be 2202 into 2202. Okay, so the first element will just be this into this plus this into this. So it's just going to be 2 into 2 plus 2 into 0. And then the second element will just be 2 into 2 plus 2 into 2, right? So 2 into 2 plus 2 into 2. No need to solve these, okay? Just take this as 0 and 4, because that's what's been given to you. This is 0 and 4. And then if you solve this, this is going to come to 4 only. Now this is 4 plus 4, and that's just 8. So x is nothing but 8, right? So if you look at the options, C should be the correct answer, because C is 8. So option C, 8, has to be your correct answer. Don't solve the whole matrix, okay? Because you've already been given the other elements. Now, sixth one. This is from reflection, okay? A point lies on the y-axis at a distance of 3 units below the x-axis. The coordinates of this point are, why this is not even reflection, this is common sense. See, if there is a point lying on the y-axis, you know what is the equation of x, right? X is just 0. So it has to be 0 comma something. So D and C can't be correct at all. It has to be either A or B. And now it says that it lies 3 units below. So 3 units below means it'll go to negative. So B has to be the correct answer. So B, which is just 0 comma negative 3, has to be the correct answer. So sixth one is B, which is 0 comma negative 3. Okay, so we get to the seventh one now. Which of the following equations represents a line equally inclined to the axis? See, what is the equation of a line? Like the standard way to represent the equation on a line, right? It's just y is equal to mx plus b. This is seventh question. Y is equal to mx plus b. Now, whenever you need to represent a line that is equally inclined to the axis, you know that the equation of the line may, the value of m, as in the slope has to be plus or minus 1. That criteria you know. So m has to be plus or minus 1. So you just need to analyze these equations and see which one satisfies. C and D though aren't even equations, so you can't consider them. So easily you can eliminate options over here. And then A, if you actually take it over there, this is not an equation, right? But over here, in place of x, you have nothing. Like there's no coefficient for x. It's just 1. It's positive, so it's positive 1 right now. But then if you have to isolate y, actually, if you have to isolate y, you take x to the other side of the equal to, will become negative 1. But still, the criteria is plus or minus 1, so B has to be the correct answer. So B, that is x minus y is equal to 7. This is the correct answer. Now we move to the eighth one, okay? Just solve this inequation. So eighth one, it's another inequation. 5 minus 2x is greater than or equal to x minus 10. So what you do is you get the x's to one side and the constants to one side. You get this over here. This is basically 15, right? Because this becomes positive 10. 10 plus 5 is just 15. Greater than or equal to, this goes over here, becomes 2x plus x, which is just 3x. So if you divide both sides by 3, this thing is just 5. So x is less than or equal to 5. Okay, so this becomes your inequality. And now they've also said, have they given what x belongs to? Yeah, x belongs to n. So x belongs to n. That means the solution set has to start from 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because it's less than or equal to. So this is the correct answer, which is the thing. Can't be this, can't be this. Yeah, it has to be C. So C is the correct answer. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now you've been given, okay, more matrices you have, your matrix A and matrix B. So basically we need to multiply them together and then see if it's 0. Okay, it comes to 0. 0 can also be 0, 0, 0, 0, where a matrix where all elements are 0, that's a null matrix. So that is considered as 0 anyways. And then statement 2, that doesn't even look correct, but to do that we need to know statement 1, right? So, okay, basically you've been given two matrices over here. 2 minus 2, negative 2, 0, times 5, 5, 5, 5. You multiply them together, basically, this into this, plus this into this. But then there's a negative sign over there, so it'll be minus. 2 into 5, minus 2 into 5. And then this will just be, again, 2 into 5, minus 2 into 5. So 2 into 5, minus 2 into 5. And this will be minus 2 into 5, plus 5 into 0. So minus 2 into 5, plus 5 into 0. And this will be minus 2 into 5, plus 5 into 0, again, or 0 into 5. So minus 2 into 5, plus 0 into 5. So this will be 10 minus 10. 10 minus 10, same thing, right? This will be negative 10 plus 0. So negative 10 plus 0. This also has to be negative 10 plus 0. So these two and these two are the same. This will just be 0, 0, minus 10, minus 10. So no, it's not 0. So this is not equal to 0. So statement 1 is obviously false. So we can completely rule out option A and option C because it's saying that statement 1 is true, which is not true. So it has to be either this or this. Statement 2 is AB is equal to 0 even if A. No, this doesn't look correct. So both have to be false. I'm pretty sure it's B. B is the right answer. So both are false. Okay. And now we look at the last one. So the line segment joining points 4, 3 and 1, -2 is divided by point y, 0 in the ratio dash. So for this, we'll obviously have to use our section formula, right? Because ratio is what we need to find. So you take it as k is to 1, like the main ratio is k is to 1, and where k represents the ratio at which the line segment joins these 2 points and is divided by this point, correct? So k represents that particular ratio. So we just need to solve for k. X axis is unknown, so we'll look at the y axis, which is just 0. So basically we have to do it in the form of y. So m1 y2 plus m2 y1 over m1 plus m2 is what we need to do. So we'll look at the 10th one. We've taken m1 as k. So it's just k into, you have y2. y2 is just -2. So -2 plus m2 is 1. And then y1 is 4. y1 is 3. Divided by k plus 1. m1 plus m2. Right? So this is equal to 0 because this thing is 0. So you just need to solve this now. So minus 2k plus 3, k plus 1 is equal to 0. So cross multiply this. This is just 0. So minus 2k is equal to minus 3. Right? Minus minus you cancel. K is just equal to 3 by 2. So the ratio has to be 3 by 2 because k represents the ratio, as I told you. So the last one is 3:2, which is B. Okay. So on that note, we finished our MCQs. Okay. I could have done it sooner, but I just wanted to explain how I was going to approach them, how you need to approach them. The matrix wala is very simple. What I've done for most of them is I've eliminated the options. I've not actually solved the whole thing. I've just used some basic logic over here and tried solving it. And this is how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to make a rough column, solve it here, and only write the answer over here with the correct option. Okay. And complete these statements in the exam. I've not completed it, but you complete it. Okay. So now let's get to the next question, which is question number 2. All these 3 are compulsory. So we'll look at the first one. First one, what should be subtracted from each of the numbers 23, 30, 57 and 78 so that the remainders are in proportion? Okay, this is very simple. See, whenever there are 4 numbers that are in proportion, like let's say A, B, C and D, it just has to be A by B is equal to C by D, right? And it's only in proportion when there's a number subtracted from all of them. So if we basically equate it in that form, that is this upon this is equal to this upon this, we can't directly do that without subtracting something from all of them. And whenever you don't know a number you need to find the value of, just take it as x. So basically, to find that, it's just gonna be 23 minus x over 30 minus x is equal to 57 minus x over 78 minus x. And that's it. Just solve for x in this equation. So you have to like cross multiply or do whatever you want. So 23 minus x times 78 minus x is equal to 30 minus x multiplied by 57 minus x. So I'm actually going to sit and solve it. You take 78 times this thing, 23 minus x, minus of this thing times this, x times 23 minus x is equal to, this is just 30 times 57 minus x times 57 minus x. Alright. So if you 78 into 23, I'm going to just put it in my calculator right now. You're not supposed to use a calculator, but the answer I'm getting is 1794. So 1794 minus 78x minus 23x. And then this is just going to be, see, this is minus of minus, right? So plus x. And that's what I've done over here. Put a minus. So plus x into x is just x squared. Okay, so this is equal to 30 into 57. 57 into 3, though, is just 171 with an additional 0. So 1710 minus 30x, minus of minus comes minus 57x, and then this into this, negative negative makes positive, so plus x squared. Plus x squared we can cancel off directly. We can cancel it. Take all the x's on one end and all the numbers on another end. So you bring this over here, 1794 minus 1710. So if you solve this is 87x, and then you solve this, which is just minus 78x minus 23x. 78 plus 23, which is just 101. Put a negative sign over there. So minus 101x becomes plus 101x. So plus 101x. And then this is just 100, so 14, right? This just becomes 14x. And if you solve this, you'll get 84. So 84 is equal to 14x. So divide both sides by 7. Okay, if you divide both sides by 7, what will you get? This thing just goes here how many times? 12 times. And this thing goes here twice. So 2x is equal to 12. So divide both sides by 2 again. So x is equal to 6. Simple, very simple sum this was, okay? Just basic properties of proportion you need to know. Now, next question. If A is equal to this matrix, B is equal to this matrix, C is equal to this matrix. So A, B and C ka matrices we have been given. Find matrix X such that C plus 2x is equal to 4B minus A. So basic matrix equations, these are, you just need to know how to solve them. Okay? There's no multiplication, only just addition, subtraction. Very easy, 3 marks this is. So whenever you have an unknown matrix and they ask you to find the matrix, take all the elements as A, B, C, D. Always do that. Okay, always take the elements as A, B, C, D. Over here we have capital A, capital B, capital C. So take it as small a, small b, small c, small d, so that you can form equations and then find each and every element. That will be easier. So let matrix X be A, B, C, D. Okay, so at least this you've gotten now. And now A, B and C ka values you've gotten. So put the equation in, that is C plus 2x is equal to 4B minus A. So you need to multiply this with scalars. Okay, so this is just going to be C. Put the value of C in. Minus 2004 plus twice of matrix X, which is ABCD. This thing is just equal to 4 times matrix B, which is 4 minus 305. Right? Minus matrix A, which is just 4, 2, negative 6, negative 2. So now what? Multiply the scalar quantities with this. Okay, so negative 2004 plus this is just 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D is equal to 16 minus 12. This is just 0 and this is 20. Minus 4, 2, minus 6, minus 2. Okay, so this is as it is. So this whole matrix will now just be 2A minus 2, 2B, this will be 2C, and this will be 2D plus 4. Okay, this is equal to, getting it because I just added each element with the pertaining element in this matrix. And now subtract this. 16 minus 4 is just going to be 12. 12 minus 2 is just going to be minus 14. So minus 14. 0 minus of minus 6 will be plus 6. And then this will be 20 minus of minus, so 20 plus 2, which is 22. So now solve for A, B, C, D basically. 2A minus 2 is equal to 12. So 2A is going to be equal to 14. Okay, so A is just equal to 7. Then 2B is going to be equal to minus 14. So B is going to be minus 14 by 2, which is equal to 7. Then 2C is going to be equal to 6. So C is going to be 6 by 2, which is 3. And then 2D plus 4 is equal to 22. So 2D is just going to be 22 minus 4, which is 18. So D will be equal to 9. So matrix ABCD is just going to be equal to 7 minus 7, 3, and then 9. So this is your final answer. Okay, so matrix X you've gotten as 7 minus 7, 3, 9. Very simple. Just form equations. Whenever there's an unknown matrix, take the elements as ABCD or take it as any other variables, because you need to form equations, solve each and every element, and get the matrix. You won't directly just get the matrix like that. All right. So what's the next question? It's a 4-marker. Again, section formula. Determine the ratio in which point P, that is coordinates are m, 6, divides the join of A and B. Coordinates of that is also given. Acha, so what you need to do is, see, first you need to find the ratio. Okay, at which this point divides this. Find the ratio. Using the ratio, which is just going to be the value of K, if we take it as K is to 1. Using the value of K, sub it in this. Again, using the section formula only. Find the value of M in this coordinate. So, acha, very simple sum. Again, first thing what we're going to do is, let the ratio be K is to 1. So K is actually the ratio at which, the thing gets divided. So now you know the formula, correct? Basically, see, if the ratio is K is to 1, you have to write over here, since it's a proper long answer. M1 is to M2 is just equal to K is to 1. Okay? So now PK coordinates are just going to be Kx squared, because you've taken M1 as K, plus, and M2 is just 1. So 1 into x1, correct? Divided by k plus 1, which is just m1 plus m2, comma. Now the same thing but with y. So this will just be k y2 plus y1 over k plus 1. So this is just the coordinates of k using the section formula. Okay, so now x we don't know because see, the point m is just, what is that given as? M comma 6, right? So this is just m comma 6. So we don't know the value of m. We find k by equating this thing to 6. Because by doing that, you'll find the value of k. y2 and y1 though you already know. K ka value also you need to find, and 1 though you know, right? It's just 1. So basically, k y2 plus y1 divided by k plus 1, this thing is equal to 6. So find the value of k over here. How do you do that? Using the coordinates. y2 and y1 k coordinates are what now? y2 k coordinates, it's just what? 8, correct? And then this will be y1 k coordinates are 3. So 8 and 3. So this will just be 8k plus 3 over k plus 1. Now this is just a regular equation solved for k now. So 8k plus 3 is just going to be equal to 6k plus 6. So this minus this will just be 2k is equal to this minus this, which is just 3. So ultimately k ka ratio is 3:2. So k ka ratio will be 3:2, which is surprising because even in the MCQ you got the same exact ratio. I don't know why they would give the same ratio over here, but from what I calculated, it's just 3:2. Okay, so first part of the question is answered. Now also you have to use the value of k to find the value of m. Basically this value right here you need to find. So k you know is just 3/2 now. So 3/2 times x2, which you got as what? 2, correct? Times 2 minus, this is just x1 is 4 divided by k plus 1, which is just 3/2 plus 1. This is just equal to m. Just solve for m, basic equation. This cancels off, 3 minus 4, this becomes -1. Take a -1 divided by, this is just, see, whenever you're adding any fraction to 1, this is the trick. Just sum the two numbers divided by, just divided by the denominator. So this will be 5/2. Okay, this is just 5/2. And if you take this on top, it'll be -2/5. So value of m is just going to be -2/5. So coordinates of p will be what? That means -2/5, 6. This is not asked though. Value of m is what has been asked, but for your reference, these are the coordinates of point p. Okay, so very basic concept. They've given you coordinates a and b. Okay, you need to use the section formula, and then you have been given the y-axis of point p. You just needed to find the ratio, and using the value of k, you need to find the x-axis of point p, which is what we found over here. Alright, so now section A is completely dealt with. All compulsory questions are done. Now let's move on to section B, where you need to attempt any 3 questions, but as you know, I'll be attempting all 4 questions.